What's up, metalheads? My name's Jamie. This is the Blades and EDC channel. Thank you guys for being here. I do appreciate it. If you're new, consider subscribing. And if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button for me. Today we're going to do something a little different, and I'm going to tell you my top 10 knives in order by the ones I've used the most. I'll start with the ones I've used the least to the ones I've used the most. These are the knives I've used throughout the year at work. I have beat the ever-living crap out of these knives. And I have not cared very much for them. I wasn't concerned with damaging them or scratching them. A lot of times I even didn't oil them or give them the proper love they deserved. I've just beat the crap out of them. This is not one of those knives. This is the Quiet Carry Drift. And this knife will be on another list that you'll be seeing in the future. And another top 10 list. And maybe a top 5 or a top 10. But it's a good list. So it's a great list. You'll be excited to see that one. Number 1. This is the one I've used the least, and it's not because it's the one I like the least. It's because it's the newest one here. This is the Scallywag Tactical Wahoo. This is 440C stainless steel. I'm pretty sure the OEM on this knife is Sativian, but I can't confirm that. Axis lock. Great axis lock action after it breaks in. Initially it's pretty stiff, but after like a day the springs loosen up. It got very, very smooth. Takes a good edge and holds it for a fair amount of time. Not the longest edge holding, but it does a good job. I mean, I can go a few days of using this knife and not need to sharpen it unless I hit a nail or something. For those of you that don't know, I do carpentry work. I work in construction, so I beat the crap out of these knives on a daily basis. I will take these knives and use them for a lot of things that most people would use a razor knife for, right? A razor that you can swap blades out. I use these for that and just see how they hold up and see how they do. And this knife has held up very well so far. I've only had this one for about 6 weeks now, so it hasn't had the most use. But again, it's not because it's my least favorite. It's because it's the newest. It costs $25. Fantastic knife for the money. A little bit heavier with steel liners and pocket clip and everything. Probably around 4 ounces, a little over 4 ounces, but great knife for the money. Micarta scales, really good for the money. These were $25 on sale. I think the original price was $45, but they've been marked down to $25 for a couple months. So great knife for the money if you need a good beater. The Scallywag Tactical Wahoo. Scallywag Tactical Wahoo is a great knife for the money. Can't complain at all on this one. Next up, this is one of the knives on the list I've had the longest, but it's seen some of the least amount of use. This is the Ganzo G704 -BL for blue. 440C again. Great steel. It really is a great budget steel, guys. A lot of these knives you're going to see are 440C, and they've done extremely well. Man, I need to take this thing apart and clean it. It is so filthy in there. Reason I haven't carried this as much because it's kind of heavy. I think it's close to 5 ounces. But man, the ergos on this knife are superb. It's thicker, blade stock, heavier, but man, you can really beat the crap out of it. The axis lock action is really good. I mean, it's much better than the Wahoo. Ganzo's axis lock, crossbar lock, whatever you want to call it, much better than the Scallywag is. And this is a fantastic knife for the money. I think these run about between $20 and $25, depending on what day you find them on Amazon. They are worth every dollar. I mean, every dollar of it. The Ganzo knives are really, really good. This one has some of the best ergos on the list. I just wish that it was a little lighter weight. The chimping's done extremely well. The thumb stud action is extremely good. The axis lock is very well done. Pocket clip works well. The G10 feels really good in hand. I think it's a good looking knife. Just a little heavier than I like to carry. So that's the only reason it's lower on the list. If not for the weight, this knife would be higher up on the list for me. Alright, next up. This one may surprise you that it's not higher on the list. Spyderco Tenacious. Great knife, ACR 13 MOV blade steel. This is one of Spyderco's budget knives. They are made in China. They run about $50. They are expensive for what you're getting when you compare it to this Chinese made knife. It's a good knife. It really is. I kept having issues with my pivot wanting to come loose on me. I'd Loctite it, it'd still come loose on me. I don't know what's going on with it. Then my blade would come over, like right now it's loose again, as you can tell. It just keeps coming loose, even though I keep putting blue Loctite in it. I let it, first time 24 hours, still came loose. Then I did it, Loctite it again, left it on for 48 hours, still came loose. I still carry it from time to time, but I'm constantly having to adjust the pivot for some reason, and I can't figure out why the Loctite is not working. And it keeps, you know, it just keeps loosening up on me, and it's really loose right now. And the blade, you know, when that happens, I realize it because I'm not generally looking at it with these knives. I'm not sitting there playing with these knives. I'm too busy working. I'll realize it happens because I'll hear the blade hit the liner, right? I'll be, oh shit, it did it again. It came loose again. I have no idea why. I've taken this thing apart multiple times. I just can't for the life of me understand why the pivot will not stay even with blue Loctite. So, but this is one of the oldest knives on the list, so that's why it has some of the most use. More use than the others, not most use, but more use than the first two knives you've seen, because I had it longer, and than what you're going to see. So, but I've thought about getting another one of these. Maybe I've just got something going on with the threading. It's the only thing I can figure. I don't know what's going on with it, honestly. But it just will not stay tight for some reason. I guess I could throw some red Loctite on it and just be done with it, but then you got to deal with that drama, right? So I don't know. It just doesn't get much use anymore. And honestly, for the money, there's much better Chinese-made knives out there than the Tenacious. So, and you're about to see one of them right now, and it's another Ganzo. This is one of the Ganzo Firebird series. This is the FB760, another one in 440C. Much lighter weight than the other Ganzo. Axis lock again. Great axis lock action on these knives. Really like this knife. When I got the Ganzos, is kind of when I was first getting into this. So this one wasn't because of the weight. It was more that I was getting a lot of other knives. So this one didn't, you know, I kept picking up other knives, and I found some that I liked the way they looked better, and I got into liking the reverse flick more than, you know, thumb flick, and just, you know, different things happened. Nothing wrong with the knife. It's held up well. One thing I forgot to point out real quick, on this Ganzo, I am getting rust around my thumb studs. I have never taken the thumb studs off and cleaned them, and I'm getting a little rust up here where the blade's been scratched. Again, I have not shown these knives love, but I need to point out this one is getting some rust, and it's 440C. This one is not getting the same rust. I'm not sure what the difference is. Rust around my thumb studs, and it has seen more use than the other one. So I don't know. Maybe it was raining one day and that one got more wet. Who knows? But this thing, Ganzo, guys, I gotta tell you, Ganzo for the money. Maybe some of the best bang for the buck out there for the action, how the ergos. They're just really good knives for money. This is another one that's like between $20 and $25, depending on which day you look on Amazon. You cannot go wrong with it. It's a fantastic knife. I've never had any issues with the springs on any of the Ganzos, and the action's fantastic on them. Better than some more premium knives with crossbar locks. So yeah, they do a great job. I'm very impressed with Ganzo. All right, next up is a brand that I found a little later in the year, probably in the spring. That's Sencut. This is the Sencut Honoris, and this is 9CR18 MOV blade steel. My Carta scale's extremely lightweight. Love how lightweight this knife is. It's under 3 ounces. I don't remember the exact weight, but I'm pretty sure it's under 3 ounces. Ridiculously good action on this knife. Detent perfection. I mean, you can't get a better detent. It's perfect. Reverse flick is fantastic. Flipper tabs works great. I don't like flipper tabs, so don't use it. Takes a really good edge. Holds it for a long time. I haven't sharpened this one in a while, but it's still got a nice edge on it. Yeah, it's still got a really good edge on it. I've had no problems with any. I mean, the black wash has held up extremely well. It's not scratching all that bad. I mean, obviously it shows marks, but it's held up extremely well for a $40 knife. Surprisingly so, honestly. The lightweight, how lightweight this is one of the reasons I love it so much. Ergos are really good on this knife. No rust issues whatsoever with this one. and it's fun to fidget with on top of you know, being a good knife. Don't have anything negative to really say about it, honestly. Can't go wrong with it. I think they do have some other color variations with this one, so if you want a good user knife that's lightweight, that will hold up well, has fantastic action, that's affordable at around $40, the Sencut Honoris is excellent. It is fantastic, actually. Next up is almost the second to most expensive knife on the list, and that is the, at the time I bought it anyway, Petrified Fish Scholar. Love the Wharncliffe blade shape, love the deep hollow grind, 154 cm blade steel. This one is the olive wood handle. For work, I probably should have went with the G10, but I just love the look of the olive wood. This has been in my pocket through the summer. Excuse me. Hot, in the heat, sweating a lot, and this olive wood has held up extremely well. I was worried that with it getting so damp in my pocket that it may cause problems with it, but it hasn't. I've deemed it up dropping it a couple times, as you can see. Titanium pocket clip, titanium backspacer. This is like a Spanish razor style shape, I think. Excellent ergonomics. It's a longer knife. Front flipping action is amazing on this knife. And because of how deep that hollow grind is and how far the blade sticks out above the handle, you can easily reverse flick it, as I felt it under the camera. But man, this thing cuts like a freaking dream. It's a little longer than I would like to carry. That's the only thing I can say about it. It's a little long for me because when I choke up, I mean, almost the entire pocket clip is out of my hand. But man, it cuts so well that I look past the length and carry it anyway, because I've never measured what it is behind the edge, but it's super thin behind the edge. This thing cuts like a freaking dream. It cuts so good. I wish they'd make another one of these and shrink it down a little bit. Just shrink it down an inch. Half inch off the butt, half inch off the blade. And take a little bit of that out of the choil here, a little bit off the end. And yeah, fantastic knife for the money. When I bought this knife, they were like $85 or $90, I believe. I think they've come down to about $60 now, which for 154 cm and the materials you're getting, the action you're getting, it's a steal for this knife. Love it. Fantastic. And if you like a Wharncliffe, you're not going to get much more Wharncliffey than that one. So, and also if you like a slicey hollow grind, this one's excellent. All right. Next up is one that will probably not surprise anyone. That is the Sencut Bronte, another front flipper. Absolutely love it. I don't know what else to say about it. Super thin and slicey blade, very lightweight. This one's a G10, but they do make a couple versions of micarta. I wanted the black blade. That's why I went with the G10. That's the only one with the black blade. The other two had stonewash or satin blades. I can't remember. Time I bought it was $52. You can buy these now for $42, which is a steal. This one's I believe this is 8CR13 MOV also, but I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's 8CR13 MOV. Whatever it is, it's held up extremely well. It takes a really good edge. So does this, by the way, and so does the Honoris. This 154 cm takes a fantastic edge. It's one of my favorite steels. These take a really good edge. I mean, if you want, you can put a polish on this knife, but I don't ever take it that far. I only take them up to like 600 grip for work. No point in putting a polished edge on a work knife, right? And cuts so well, man. Such a good blade shape. You've got the front flipper, top flipper, fuller. This one needs some lube. I can feel it. It's dirty inside. Super dirty in there. Really dirty. I don't know if y'all can see down in there around those bearings, but goodness gracious, that thing's dirty. These knives are not the ones I show a lot of love to, guys. I just use them and abuse them. So, again, Sencut's blackwash or whatever coating they are putting on their blades. This thing is cut through so much stuff, guys. I can't tell you how much stuff this knife is cut through. It's cut wood, tar paper, rubber tape, cut through Tyvek on plywood with nails under it, bumping nails. It's held up extremely well. Love this knife. Can't go wrong with it, honestly. Very neutral ergos. Not much to say in the ergo department. It feels really good in hand, but just very neutral. I think it'd be good in anyone's hand for the most part. The edge retention on these knives is surprising to me. This one and the Honoris, they hold their edge so well. I have reviews for pretty much every one of these knives in this video, by the way. These two knives hold their edge so good it's shocking. for their price range. I mean, I can sharpen these on a Sunday and use them a whole week and beat the crap out of them, and I've sharpened them till the next Sunday. Sometimes the following 2 weeks, sometimes the last 2 weeks, depending on what I'm doing. But great action. Sencut is killing it, man. I think some of the Sencut knives are better than this. I think these two Sencut knives are better than a lot of the Svivi knives that I've held. So action-wise, and they're just really cool knives. I think it looks really good too. I love the look of this one. Great knife. That is the Sencut Bronte. The next one will not surprise anyone. One of my most used at work. The Qvist Bladeworks variant. This is the PE1. This is the original variant that does not have the front flipper. So it's just reverse flick or thumb flick only. 14C 28N blade steel. It's all scratched all to hell. I did dye the JG10 purple. It's starting to fade out a little bit on me after probably 6 months now. It's starting to get a little lighter. It used to be a darker purple. But yeah, these are fantastic knives for the money. And this is one of those knives that for most people who have larger hands tell me they don't like it because of the way the butt of the knife hits them in the hand. For me, that's not an issue. This thing is an ergonomic dream for my hand size, medium-sized hand. And the Wharncliffe blade, for what I do, detail type cuts and slicing through certain things and cut strips of certain things and stuff like that at work, it's just fantastic for that. With it being 14C 28N, it takes a great edge, holds it for a long time. No rust issues whatsoever. The action is glassy smooth. Even with using it at work, it stays smooth. This one's really dirty too, but it still has excellent action. With these knives too, man, every knife is like this. The more you use it, the better the action gets. But this just gets glassier and glassier and glassier. This is glassier than my newer PE2s and just smoother, even though it's dirty as crap right now. Those other ones have never been used at work, just this one. And it's got the best action out of all of them. It really does. It's so good. Such a great knife. But this is one of those that's hit or miss for some people. So some people don't like this knife, but I absolutely love it. Carry it all the time and will continue to do so. Looking forward to the new PE3 that is going to be a frame lock version of this knife, a more premium version with 20 CV, titanium everything, clip and all. Should be interesting. Also interested to hear what the price on that one's going to be. The price on this one was originally $60. They don't make the PE1 anymore. They make the PE2 with the front flipper. It's the exact same knife. It just has this little nub that sticks up. I've got one sitting here somewhere. It's the exact same knife, right? There's nothing different about it. They just added this little nub so you could front flip it. But it's fantastic also. I just don't use it at work because I got this one to use at work. All right, here's one of my most used knives at work, and this is going to be no surprise to anyone. The QSP Penguin, this one in particular. This is the blue jean micarta with D2 blade steel. I am getting rust on this knife around the pocket or around the thumb stud. I'm starting to get a little bit of rust. Not terrible, just a couple spots. That's just from my neglect, honestly. It's D2 steel, so I should be oiling it, taking better care of it, but I'm not too concerned with it. Again, filthy as hell on the inside. God, I need to take these work knives apart and clean them. They are so dirty. I haven't looked at a lot of these in a long time on the inside. I just grab them and go, you know what I mean? I don't take the time to look at them. I hardly ever even lube the bearings or, in this case, washers or anything on these knives. I just use them, and they just keep going, keep working. All of them have been great. This D2 takes a pretty good edge and holds it for a decent amount of time. It's not like 154CM. I've noticed that it will take a razor sharp edge, but it doesn't hold the edge as long as pretty much any other knife up here. Even the 440C is holding this edge longer than this D2 is. Yeah, I got a little rust building up back there too. Micarta used to be nice and blue. It is almost black now in a lot of spots just from the oils from my skin and being in my pocket and sweating. But the Penguin, I don't really need to say much about the Penguin. It is what it is. With that blade shape, the ergos are fantastic. It's just a great work knife, man. It really, really is. Yeah, love the Penguin. Can't go wrong with it. And there are more premium versions of this with 154CM if you want to get one of those. And some other steels now. They're making a lot of these. A lot of variations of the Penguins out there. But this is the cheapest one. These run $32, and they are worth every dollar. And I'd pay $50 for this knife and be happy to pay $50 for this knife. It's such a good knife. All right, that's going to bring us to my most used work knife of the year. Let me go ahead and put the rest of these out here. should have been sitting them out here for you guys the whole time. I don't know why I didn't do that. Alright, there's 9, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, and my #1 used knife for work of the year is the Spyderco Para 3. This is the S30V, the cheaper one. Not the cheap one, the BDN one I think it is, or whatever that still is. But it's a Para 3, man. What can I say? It's an excellent work knife, it really is. I will say the S30V is extremely scratchy. You know what I mean? It scratches extremely easily. Takes scratches from very minimal use. So if you get it at Para 3 and you're wanting to keep it nice, you know, you don't want scratches on it at all, be careful what you do with it, because their S30V scratches very easily. But man, it takes a wicked edge. I tell you guys, this thing will take a wicked edge and holds it for a fair amount of time. Compression lock. Standard old Spyderco pocket clip. Just a great knife, man. This is one of those knives people either love or hate. A lot of people look at the Para 3 and they think it's ugly, right? You think this is ugly. A lot of people, I used to think that. This was my second Para 3, and I have another one, so I have 3 pair. Well, I lost one, my first one, so this is the second one I ever bought. When you look at this knife, it does. A lot of people think it's ugly, and I was one of those people. When you get one in hand and you feel the ergonomics on this knife, it all makes sense. It just makes sense. Every curve, everything you see on this knife was thought about for ergonomics. Every bit of it. None of it's done for aesthetics. It's all done for ergos. And some of the best ergos you'll ever get on a knife is the Spyderco Para 3. And with the Para 3, you have endless options out there for scale materials, blade steels. And endless options to customize them, like you guys just saw me recently do to this one. So my newest Para 3. This is not going to get taken to work and beat up. This is going to be a channel knife. Or a safe queen, as some people will call them. But this one is going to continue. I'm going to continue just to beat the hell out of it. I did recently have someone ask me if I had one for sale. And I offered to sell them this at a very fair price. But they didn't want the scratches on the blade, so I get that, no worries. I'll just keep using it and beating the hell out of it. It may be my #1 carried work knife for 2023 also, so we shall see. I'm looking at the rest of these out here, and nothing out there is making me think it will beat this knife. But who knows what's to come next. There may be something here already that you guys haven't seen that may take its place, or maybe something come in the future that I will carry more at work. But as far as work knife goes, it may be the best out there. It really may be. And maybe I'm just biased because of how much I love the Para 3 now, but the ergos, they're so good. And if you got a bigger hand that's isn't big enough for you, get the Paramilitary too. Pretty much the same knife, just longer. Great knives. Spyderco does such a good job on their steel. I mean, they're just great knives. They are a little more pricey, made in the USA, but you know, this one will run you about 150 bucks, somewhere in that range. The one I got with upgraded steel, S45BN on Cyber Monday, I got for $123. So if you can catch them on better deals, if you look for sales, you can get a better deal on them. They're worth every dollar of the money. I know a lot of people may not agree with that, but I think the Para 3 is worth every dollar. So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed the video, and there's going to be a couple more videos like this coming, end of the year videos, just talking about some of my most used, most liked, my favorites. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.